Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Down, welcome to yet another Cutter Top 10 MLB video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 worst MLB uniforms of all time. Last time I checked, I did the top 10 MLB uniforms, and this baby, Expos baby, was in the top 10 at number 6. I didn't make it that high. But anyway, we're going to be taking a look at 10 of the best, 10 of the worst MLB uniforms of all time. So anyway, here we go. I am going to make a bit of a change at number 10. Number 10 originally was the Pittsburgh mix and match uniforms, although it looked bad. The problem is I made it in my top 10 uniforms. So technically, I can't have one that's both best of the worst. So I'm just going to say number 10 is the majority of the City Connect jerseys. There are some good ones, like the Blue Jays and the Angels with the diamond, with the number inside the diamond. No, inside the diamond cutter. But there are some that have been terrible. The Dodgers have had some bad ones. A few didn't make sense. Cleveland's was okay, but Boston's, although the locals like it, like the yellow jersey with the blue lettering and the green, the Fenway Park green monster jerseys are nice. It just doesn't look good on a Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox are red, white, and maybe some blue, but like no yellow and green on a jersey, on a Red Sox jersey. Phooey, no. But that's just me. Number 9 is the shit show that was the Toronto Blue Jays 2004-2011 with their jerseys. Granted, they looked decent with the silver metallic look, the menacing Blue Jay, instead of the normal one that we saw from 1977 to 2003. But the fact is that the gray metallic stuff, basically the black jerseys, it just wasn't there. It just didn't scream Toronto Blue Jays, especially with the lack of blue on the team. It was a good, with the letter J, I mean J for Jeff, but still, it was not visually appealing. Even the Rays, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, were upset because they thought the Jays were copying them. But no, they weren't. The Blue Jays with their metallic look, it looked decent, but it just didn't scream Blue Jays. Fortunately, in 2012, they kind of came back to the original split letter fonts and all that, and we're blessed with better jerseys. That's good. Number 8 is the Seattle Pilots uniforms. The Seattle Pilots were made to play in the American League. The Seattle Pilot, Major League Baseball wanted Seattle and Kansas City to start AL baseball in 1971. However, Kansas City, the Missouri Senator Stuart Simonton raised a stink and ran to sue MLB. So they decided to settle it by telling Kansas City that they can play in 1969. Also, they needed another American League team, and Seattle, for some reason, won that vote. The Seattle Pilots uniforms, the scrambled eggs, cap trim, the airline pilot style, it was decent, but the execution, good movement, good idea, poor execution. But the stadium's sixth stadium, with apostrophe S, was terrible. Like, it was a minor league park that they forgot to build Major League Baseball. That's kind of like Park Jerry in Montreal, but still. So that happened, and the Pilots only lasted 1 year. The Soriano brothers were like, 13 million behind on everything, and they moved to Milwaukee to become the Milwaukee Brewers. That actually was a week before spring training or something like that, and so they had to scramble. So the Pilots uniforms were they had to slap Brewers on those Pilot uniforms for at least one season before Milwaukee changed everything for themselves. Number 7 is the Tequila Sunrise jerseys of the Houston Astros. Now, some people say that it should be top 3, but I put it at number 7 because, it was decent and all that. It wasn't like one of the best jersey designs, but yeah, it's impossible to ignore. Very iconic, but not really tasteful. The red, orange, yellow horizontal bands, turned every player into a walking sunset / hazard sign. Like it was actually trying to get the colors of the 1970s. It looked decent from 75 to 86. And then the Astros in 1987 decided, screw it, we're going to get rid of those colors and just wear the Astros with the star on it until their rebrand in 94, was it? That they changed the Houston logo and all that. But what's even more crazy is that the Astros seemingly wore kind of white uniforms on the road, which you can't do. It's usually the home team because when you look at the 1986 NLCS between the Astros and the Mets, you could see that, thankfully the Mets having those orange and blue stripes on it because Houston was wearing kind of a white jersey. You'd be thinking, wait a minute, you can't have a game with two teams wearing white. That just doesn't make sense. And it didn't. But still, it was pretty decent. And thankfully, it got itself out of the top 5. Number 6 is the catch-up jerseys of the Cleveland Indians. The Cleveland Indians were decent. Of course, I'm saying the name Indians because that's what they were known as at the time. Cleveland had some iconic jerseys, including the Indian head with the C. Well, of course, at the time it looked cool, but it aged like milk, as the kids say. Anyway, Cleveland decided to go all in with their red jerseys, especially with Oakland going green and gold and all that, and thinking that you don't have to wear white and gray on your jersey. So they decided to wear an all red uniform. It's one thing to wear red tops, fair enough. But then they wore red bottoms, and it was terrible. The red jerseys, red pants, stop sign effect. It even had the remnants of ketchup. And it feels bad that Frank Robinson had to wear those jerseys. And of course, Dwayne Kuiper, although in those red jerseys, he did hit the home run, his only home run in Major League history. But yeah, Cleveland just had an all red look, and it just was terrible. They tried to copy Oakland, and they failed. Number 5 is the camouflage uniforms of the San Diego Padres. Give the Padres credit. I mean, after all, they were trying to pay homage to the military. There's nothing wrong about that, but camouflage on a baseball field just doesn't make sense. Football definitely would make less sense, in a sense. Hockey, meh, it could pull off. Well, they do it in warm-ups. And in basketball, maybe, maybe not. But yeah, the Padres camouflage uniforms of the 2000s and all that. They had a bright idea, but poor execution. And speaking of the Padres, let's make that the next Padres uniform number 4. And that's the mustard and brown uniforms from 72 and 73. They have done decently with their brown and yellow jerseys as of late, the 2020s. They're not half bad. However, the Padres in 50 years earlier didn't work out. So in 72 and 73, they decided to work with brown and yellow. But the Padres set were full mustard bottle, as the jerseys were yellow and the fonts were in brown. Of course, brown and yellow is also an indication of crap and piss, if you can say it. Anyway, the matching pants made things unforgiving and all that. So they kind of went with brown uniforms with yellow trim and yellow lettering and all that. That was that till I think the mid 90s when they changed it to the Padres block things. But yeah, those mustard and brown uniforms looked terrible and all that. It didn't remind me of condiments. It reminded me of bodily functions. Number 3 is the turn ahead the clock uniforms. There were some teams that could play that great, but in 1999, Major League Baseball decided to have all 30 teams wear what they call turn ahead the clock uniforms, like uniforms that could be worn 100 years in the future. The air may not last 100 years. But anyway, yeah, turn ahead the clock. Seattle had a terrible one. Kansas City, it was kind of weird with those jerseys, but the numbers looked decent, but the font was still silver metallic, and then the names were on the back. Like the Mets, they changed second base to second station and all that. So yeah, they went full blast. But turn ahead the clock, but it didn't work out quite as well. One good thing is that 4 teams did not take part in the turn ahead the clock promotion. And wouldn't you know it, both Canadian teams, Montreal and Toronto, refused. Thank God. Hmm. Okay. Number 2 is the all burgundy Philadelphia Phillies Saturday night special. So we go into what they call the special jerseys. In 1979, the Philadelphia Phillies wanted to wear burgundy, which is fine. That burgundy top wasn't that half bad. Pete Rose rocked the burgundy in the 1979 All-Star game. If you watch the highlights, like I watched the one video about Dave Parker's cannon throws in the 1979 All-Star game, including one to retire Brian Downing at the plate. You could see at first base, you could see Rose 14, but it's burgundy. And it's unusual because the Phillies, were white with the burgundy pinstripes. But yeah, the tops were fine, but then they wanted to wear all burgundy, like including the pants. They had a one-time thing. Every Saturday night they would do that. However, after one game, I think it was against the Expos, can't remember, but they decided, fuck that, we're not going to do it anymore. And it worked. It really did. And finally, number 1 is who wears short shorts? The 76 White Sox wear short shorts. Yeah, bad baseball fashion. Collared jerseys, like the collar on the jerseys, which isn't half bad if it done right. Untucked tops, like it looked like they were untucked. And baseball, you have to tuck your jersey. Knee-high socks, like the socks go to here, but then they go high on the knee. And actual shorts. Are you crazy? Major League Baseball let the White Sox wear these jerseys? Well, they were supposed to wear them 10 times during the 76 season, but they only could wear them once. And thank God they only did it once. Those jerseys are not Major League jerseys. It would look like a company softball picnic gone wrong. Softball is softball, but yeah. For them to wear actual shorts and all that, Major League Baseball, you got to tell them don't wear the shorts and all that. They did for one game. Fortunately, though, they got rid of the shorts. They didn't completely get rid of the collar jerseys. What am I thinking? And untucked tops and all that. They still wore those, but they had the baseball pants. So in essence, the White Sox just were the kings of that. Bill Feck tried everything to try to get the team back in full view. Of course, 3 years later, Bill Feck and company would botch Disco Demolition Night. But yeah, you can't wear short shorts in a baseball game and all that. I rarely wear shorts at all. Anyway, I'm going to do